welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Married at First Sight Australia, episodes 33 through to 35. Now, Chris, we're in the final run-in. Where would you like to start?
Well, Dave, it's got to be the dinner party. And I've got to say, we alluded to this last week, but Olivia is Olivia and she's horrible and we're going to talk about her as usual. But I think Tamara's been worse this last week or so, Dave. I think they've either edited out her to be the baddie and they've gone with the Olivia story, which has been absolute gold TV, let alone morally disgraceful, but just brilliant TV. And I know this stuff we're going to talk about her today again, but Tamara has just been awful. I think I've said before, Brent is a firecracker. I'm sure he stoked the flames slightly, but the way she looks down on him is fucking downright disgraceful. I just do not like this girl, and she's got such a high opinion of herself. It's unfucking believable for me.
Well, we'll get on to the commitment ceremonies later, and there was a bit of a punching in the air kind of moment there. But I mean, just on the dinner party, actually, if we talk a little bit about Cody and Selena, because what unfolded, and I know Charlene was saying, guys, you've got to do a single episode on this, but we just haven't had time. I think with the dinner party, she's almost inadvertently stoked the flames, because she being Selena, because it starts off and she's feeling quite bad about the whole naked photo of Dom thing and her part in it, and she feels quite bad, and she's obviously down about it, and actually goes and apologizes to Dom, and fair play to her. I think for whatever reason, this whole group has just got a fucking blind spot for morality. And, Selena's the only one, it seems, who, we know at the time, people like Ella, Mitch, Brent, they were saying it was wrong initially last week, but everyone else, or a lot of other people were just like, yeah, what's your problem? You put it out there on the internet. Again, don't get it. Why they're not calling out the fact it's behind a paywall, somewhat off there. But, she goes and apologizes, and that just seems to piss off the girls, in particular, Tamara and Olivia. And I think you're right. I think Olivia, we know how she's going to be. She was just horrid. She wasn't any more or any less this week. But I think Tamara has been able to keep a lid on that horrible part of her character for a few weeks. And whether it's edited out or she just has been trying to keep that bit of her down, I'm not sure, but I thought in the last episodes of 32, when they had the girls and boys nights out, I thought she was horrible there, and she just continued on this week. And she's been consistently horrible to Brent for a bit of time now, but then the way she's going at Dom, she's a proper, she's properly in Olivia's camp here, that Olivia's, Dom is shithouse, and like even calling out the fact, why Selena are you apologizing? What are you apologizing for?
Oh my God.
That's fucking horrible, wasn't it?
Oh, Dave, you know what? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because they were the two things that really made my blood boil. Was, Selena's obviously one of these people who goes with the peer pressure, doesn't she? She's obviously done this all her life. She doesn't like offending anyone. She's a nice person, but she's quite weak-minded in the way not weak-minded, but the way the girls have overpowered her. So anyone who's dominating, like Olivia, Tamara, they just hate Dom. And it's been quite interesting, because Tamara had never given off these vibes that she hated Dom from what we'd seen until this last, couple of weeks. It'd been all about Olivia and her. And when she whispered to her, why have you fucking apologized? I'm like, you fucking bastard. That is horrible. And then a bit later on, when Dom and Jack are having this truth thing, She's there and very good camera work. And she's like, well, why have you? And I'm like, what the fuck? You're treating Brent like a piece of shit still.
Yeah.
But you've got an opinion on Dom and Jack's relationship. Who the fuck are you? And she did that in the last episode when she was getting all high and mighty about Dion and fucking Carolina. No fan of Carolina at all. But it's like, you're not the person to be taking the moral fucking high ground now. You need to fuck right off. So my blood was boiling with some of her comments. So snipey and bitchy. And obviously, Olivia's just got fucking resting bitch face for the whole, any dialogue with Dom or they shone the spotlight on Dom and Jack. She fucking hates it. And she's not a poker player at all.
No. I mean, she fucking kids herself, I think, into believing what she's saying sometimes. She'll go into a dinner party and she'll say, I just hope there's no drama. I hope, Dom doesn't go after me or whatever. And then it's her. She just can't fucking help herself. And when Dom's speaking, she's just like, not saying any words, but you can read it in her face. I want to stick a fucking knife in you. She absolutely hates her to their very core. And she just can't fucking shut her mouth up. But fucking no nuts, fucking Jackson does my head in, Chris.
Yes.
He fucking does my head in because he absolutely enables her. He doesn't realize it probably, but he would have been able to, if he was more forceful and just said, look, I am not into this at all. If you want to do this, I'm going to fucking sit over there because I'm not having any part of this. That would have shut Olivia up. Because it's when she actually has the fear that Jackson may be gone for longer than a toilet break, right? That's when she actually has a bit of self-realization and she thinks, oh shit, maybe I've gone too far now.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't do that, please. And he's like, fucking me, just fucking grow some balls and fucking speak your mind. But honestly, Chris, I'd have to say, and I feel a bit bad because I think Jackson at his core is just a very nice person, but he's pissing me off by not standing his ground. And like I say, by not standing his ground there, he's enabling everything that Olivia's doing.
Yeah, and you're right, because their relationship, whether they're together or not, even now, it's going to be dictated by Olivia and how her mood is, how she perceives any conversation. I'm pretty certain she's going to be the type of person who's going to be going through his Facebook messages and Instagram. Probably Instagram,
100%.
Dave. I'm showing our age now, but probably Instagram and whatever DMs he's going to get.
On MySpace.
MSN Messenger, Dave.
He'll be in the AOL chat rooms.
56k upload. But no, she will be. She'll be vetting everything this guy does, and I don't think with someone like Olivia, she's not going to change. She's not going to change. I mean, anybody, we said this last episode, but anybody who's proud of the fact that she holds a grudge, fuck me, you are not in a stable.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not normal behavior, unfortunately. But I think the thing is as well, it's like, when you look at the dynamics with Jackson, and I agree with you, I think morally he's a good guy. I think as a person, there's a nice demeanor about him, which is probably the yin and yang that makes them work or seems to work on TV. But you're right, he's got to hold her accountable. I know he says a few things about her and saying like, this has got to stop if you fall out with my friends in one of the later episodes, but it's still not enough for me. He should lay it on the line and go, if this carries on, because you can clearly see every time she does this, he's eye rolling. He's embarrassed. I mean, he even admitted that he sided with Dom on one of them. And you can clearly see that because he was talking to the judges, Olivia was like, who the fuck are you? You're going against me. And he's probably had to sit there and listen to these 2-hour monologues from fucking Olivia about how much he hates Dom and Dom's this and no, this is why I acted like this. And then the next minute he's saying, well, actually, I can totally sympathize with why Dom and Jack are upset or whatever. But he doesn't hold her to task. I think she would get more respect out of him if he actually proper laid into her and just said, this is unacceptable. I'm not being associated with somebody else, supposed to be my wife. You are not taking my name if you're going to be like this, if you're going to be so horrible, because it's just weird. It's weird. And to be honest, it's quite unsettling, really, to know that someone has gone through life so bitter at everything.
I don't know how you hold on to that bitterness, to be honest.
Yeah.
But she's got to, at some point, get over that. Again, I keep going back to this thing that, she's claimed that she's just the victim of a bad edit. And it's like, well, no, you said this shit and they showed that shit.
Yeah.
That's the start, middle, and end of it. If you don't like the way you come across, don't fucking say those things. Maybe keep them in your internal voice, even if you are. But I still think if Jackson was more kind of forthcoming about, I am not happy with this, instead of saying it to the cameras, and I'd be intrigued what she actually thought watching these episodes back, because he was saying a lot more about how he was unhappy with her behavior to the cameras than he ever did to her. Even in front of the judges, when he was saying, he wasn't happy with some of the way she handled some of the situations, that was a watered down version of how he was in front of the cameras. Like, so I just, yeah, again, we've ended up on Olivia and Jackson again, haven't we? It's hard to avoid them. But again, I think you're talking about blood boiling. I think it was when, in particular, I think the thing that Tamara and Olivia didn't like about Selena's apology, they were both together, like, again, proper fucking high school bullying stuff, whispering in the corner of the table, oh no, it's given Dom all the ammunition she needs. She's going to play the victim now and milk it for all that it's worth. And it's like, you pair of fucking bellends. You absolutely horrible human beings. And again, I think our soul of the week, I think it's a tie. I think Tamara's put in a late spurt there, but I'm not sure I can separate the pair of them. And again, I think Tamara, the way she is towards Dom is horrible, but the way she is, it comes out, doesn't it, about how she was speaking at the girls' night. Dom throws fucking Tamara under the bus, but I think before that, Brent had said about how he's sorry, he didn't handle the whole photo thing well. And so I sort of read that as Dom was like, again, just sort of being honest, and saying about some of the horrible things Tamara was saying, hasn't got a clue what he does for a living. She thinks he waits tables. Chris, I don't know why Tamara thinks she's this fucking high-powered businesswoman. She's an office assistant for an estate agent. I mean, it's not like she's fucking Elon Musk or anything, but she's got this kind of superiority complex above certain people. I think Dom, she sees as this bogan. Brent, she sees as this waiter. And even if she did see people like that, but not fucking treat people like they're pieces of shit, I think I think it's unforgivable for me, just the way she is. And yeah, I just fucking can't stand the pair of them, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's funny, because when I did think it was a bit weird though, Dave, when Dom and Jack were talking, and it was like, "Do you see a future?" And Dom did this pause, and I kept thinking, "Is this a production thing? Have they just like laid into it?" And then Tamara's like, "Oh," because she didn't answer straight away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why are you being like this? Just stop being." Uh, it's weird. It's weird.
Have you noticed though? I mean, they both do it. It's kind of like this very passive aggressive way of dealing with Dom. So Tamara and Olivia, it's like this. I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to take these pot shots, and it's like, oh yeah, it's not bothering you, is it? All right, okay. It's like this oozing with sarcasm, and it's fucking winding me up so much. But I tell you, Olivia in particular has been past the line for a long time now. What did you think though? The way she's trying to attack Olivia, but because of what Olivia said to Brent about what Tamara had said, Olivia decides to throw it out there that in week 2, I think it was, it seems like Jack wasn't performing, and so in front of the whole group, basically says that he's a little bit quick off the mark.
And as the great John McClane says to Al, his friend Al Powell, who comes to see what's going on at Nakatomi Building, welcome to the party, pal. Because Dave, it doesn't just happen to Jack, it happens to the best of us, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's so. The thing is, obviously, at that point, Dom and Olivia, or Dom with the girls, thought there was like trust and earnest trust of, he wouldn't reveal that. That's just fucking horrible again. And you're bringing Jack into it now as well. It's like there is no boundaries with Olivia. Is it anything to win a bit of leverage? Just belittle, just bullying. It's out and out bullying. And I still, the only thing I hold to task, we've said about John stepping up, Alessandra. They've all stepped up in this series with little things, and we've praised them quite rightly. But why is no one picking up on this bullying, Dave? I mean, Beck was like that last season. I mean, Bryce was a complete bastard. He was a complete twat. But obviously, Melissa didn't deserve that. And she had a couple of like flashpoints. One where she just had enough of everyone, didn't she? And we could all see what Bryce was, but they're the only ones who are together now. They've got twins. Whatever we think, there is a working relationship. I'm pretty sure it's all on Bryce's terms, Dave, but they are together. And she had so many insecurities, and Beck was horrible, and that was all deflecting from what she was doing. I cannot believe they've let this go so far, because the Tamara stuff's bullying, sniping at her in the background and stuff, and Dom's fiery. They're just trying to get a reaction, aren't they? It's that typical, oh, what's up with you? When they've like absolutely gaslit them for an hour. And someone should have stepped in. Someone should have stepped in and told them to fucking rein it in. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. But they haven't. Look, great TV again. But I think
I was going to say we sort of want that, but we sort of love it as well, don't we? I mean,
yeah,
it's sort of what makes this the best TV show. In terms of what we're covering at the minute, I just don't think there is anything better. And although it's uncomfortable to watch, when you place this in real life, you just think, how are some human beings behaving this way? But it's a fine line, isn't it? Because we don't really want them all just sitting, having a chat, having a bit of cheese with their wine and discussing how great their marriages are. We sort of love the drama of it. And again, I felt sorry for Brent. He'd got to the point with Tamara where she's just consistently just belittling him all the time, just getting on at him, doesn't understand what he does for a job, and like he just loses it in the end. And you said a few times now he's a bit of a firecracker, but I don't know. I see it differently. I'd see that he's just constantly fucking undermined. And, you can't put up with that shit consistently. I think he bites his lip. And then at some point, he just can't do it anymore. And then he has a bit of a blowout. And you see when eventually she's like, oh, I don't know. What do you do? Wait tables or something? He just fucking throws the ring at her. And that was the warm up for a blowout that comes out later. But I did enjoy that, but he walked out, not Bryce style, where it's like, look, I'm gonna walk out. Where? Oh no, I'm back. He proper walked out, and Jack had a word with him, but that was it. That was him done for the night.
Yeah, and I think that was right. I mean, the VT, when you watch it in the next episode, it just looks so brutal, didn't it? It's like, it was so ridiculous. And I'm with you. I like Brent a lot, Dave. I know I say about a firecracker, but I just think he's a good guy. I think he speaks really elegantly. He's very good the way he delivers his lines and everything. I think he's got a good foundation. His mum and dad, they seem really, really good people. And For someone who waits tables, Dave, the pictures we've seen, because you sent it me when he sat with Will Smith and everything, yeah, it could have been a one-off picture. Maybe quite appropriate. It's with Will Smith, Dave, after this week's antics at the Oscars. But you know what I've just heard as well. I don't know if you've seen this, but apparently, you know, when he slapped Chris Rock, Will Smith, the Academy asked him to leave, and he wouldn't leave. Now, I've been a massive Will Smith fan since I was a kid. Fresh Prince is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I absolutely love that show. Uncle Phil, everything. There's some proper tear-jerking episodes. I watch it at least once a year. I love that show. But I think and I've watched his channel for ages, YouTube channel. Will Smith is a fucking bellend, Dave. I've gone right off him after all that. What a narcissist.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say on that. I mean, utterly shocking. You know, we were chatting about it quite a lot, weren't we? You know, the day after, and like there was speculation, wasn't there? Is this just a setup? You know, viewing figures for the Oscars have been down and everything recently, and is this all just set up? You know, this wrestling slap kind of thing. But I just don't know what to make of it. I mean, the thing is, it was a shit joke.
Yes, it was.
And you know, I saw Russell Kane. I don't know if you follow him.
I do know he is, yeah.
Follow him. And he's like, you know, he said with comedians, there's an unwritten rule. There's a bit of solidarity, you know. So we don't like, you know, the joke is sacred. But he said, but you know, bit of a tip for Chris Rock. If someone's there in the front row with you know, no hair or anything, and you know, looking quite ill and in a wheelchair, obviously he was extending it a little bit. He was saying, yeah, probably best to avoid that one. So I don't know. I think they all just come off quite badly out of it, and I'd like to wait a little bit more before I know, because that is not the Will Smith that we've known for, you know, most of all of our adult lives. We both love Fresh Prince, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, and he's been in various things, and you see him outside, and there's obviously been issues going on outside of the public eye as well, you know, that have been well documented with his marriage and stuff. So it just seems very weird. But I must admit, over the last week, I have heard a few things which, you know, just make it seem bit like Tamara. Just seems like he feels a bit better, a bit superior to everyone else. I don't like that.
No, I don't. I know I've gone off piece there with this one, but you're right. The joke was shit. It wasn't funny. Did he know the background? I don't know. Either way, he could have shouted at him, like, you know, like he said, you know, take my wife's name out of your mouth or whatever he was saying, you know, and he was swearing at him and stuff.
Yeah,
That's no problem with that. Tell him, you know, you're out of order, or get up and point and say, stop it, you know, whatever. But you don't go and slap someone. And then what makes it worse for me, Dave, and like I said, I've always been a massive fan, is it's the fucking 5-minute monologue award thing he said. And he got a standing ovation from all these other self-obsessed wankers.
That is fucking tone deaf, I think, from Hollywood. Someone's just got up and smacked someone. If a member of the public did that, they'd be fucking in jail that night.
Yeah, exactly.
It was weird, I thought, to give him that speech, because he apologized to the Academy, apologized to, you know, the his other nominees, not to Chris Rock. He's just smacked him in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you say, if he'd have got up, took the mic off Chris Rock and said, look, you know, don't appreciate that. My wife is going through this thing. You know, again, I didn't realize this. Who knows if Chris Rock knew it, but apparently she does suffer with alopecia. So, you know, it is an actual medical condition.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So, you know, it probably hit a note there, but there's a way to fucking handling it without fucking smacking him.
Yeah, so, exactly. Didn't know there was a video of him singing "Let's Get Jiggy with It" with his Oscar, Dave. Afterwards, you didn't seem that fucking upset. But, the narcissistic.
I heard that. Yeah. So it's
so bad.
Just all very weird, very weird. So I don't know. Like I say, I'm intrigued as to where this goes over the next week. You know, what actually comes out, but it does seem a bit strange. Look, the Academy's fucking awarded people for worse things than smacking someone in the mouth. or not for
Well,
that, but put up with it. You look at fucking Roman Polanski,
well,
he still won his Oscar, despite what he'd done, and so I don't know how much moral high ground the Academy Awards people have got to sit on here.
well, and you're right. And my last statistic on this, Dave, is they're looking at possibly taking the one Oscar off Will Smith, but no one's took the 81 that Harvey Weinstein's got, Dave. But there you go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
your moral
Yeah.
compasses for these fuckers. But anyway, we've gone right off piste anyway, Dave. So sorry about that. But
Yeah.
what I was laughing about is when we got to like because it was only a 3 episode of this week, was Jackson's talking about Olivia to the camera in the next episode, and he says, look, I'm a bit concerned about the way she reacts in my fingers, but if this is the normal, I'm not going to be with her. And I'm like, hello, fucking McFly, how much fucking warning do you know? Do you need, having spent so much time with this girl, that this is the normal? This is what you're getting for the rest of your life. The fucking butcher gives her one slice of fucking ham less than that. Well, that's him off the list. She'll be after him forever and a day. She'll be sending him to trading standards, or someone cuts her up at a fucking roundabout and she's going to hunt them down. She is just an absolute nutcase, unfortunately.
I'm going to avoid that term. So apparently she has. I was reading somewhere that she has lost a job as a teaching assistant, and you don't want to see people normally out of a job, but fucking yeah, I don't think you want her anywhere near teaching kids. Not fucking from anything that we've seen at all. Utter toxic person, I think. So,
yeah.
I mean, what have you got anything else on the dinner party? I mean, it was the kind of Dom versus Tamara and Olivia thing mostly, wasn't it?
No, and we've Brent and Tamara at the end, but that was it really. I think
Oh yeah, yeah.
it laid into that.
Oh, I tell you what else. Actually, you've got this was the first real blowout, like proper blowout that Ella and
Oh,
Mitch had,
Mitch,
wasn't it?
yes. Sorry, yes. Um, I'm conflicted on this, Dave. I'm conflicted. So I think I don't know if he's ever seen this show before, but his behavior has been completely off the wall at times. Some of his reactions and the way he speaks to Ella, like, I'm not moving. If you really want me, you've got to come to me. I think he's been dead disrespectful. I think Ella's lovely. I think she's one of the nicest contestants on the show. I really do. I think she's kind-hearted.
Yeah.
She is. She's all in. And Mitch has just been very arrogant. Like you say, he's the fucking drummer out of Bros, or he's one of the Goss brothers, whoever he is. But he is. His behaviour is very, very unusual. However, and it was a blow up. It was a blow up. They all went the separate ways. I have an opinion on what his decision was at the commitment ceremony. I don't know if you want to jump to that, or you want to say a bit more before I talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, let's jump around. We're covering all three, so we broadly go through in order, but let's stick with them, because when we've seen Mitch have his little tantrums in the past, and he's said to Ella, "Oh, maybe that's just your own insecurities," and he's got his fucking porn app on his phone and stuff. She just rolls over, doesn't she? She just accepts it. And the dinner party was the first time where you saw her say kind of, I've had enough. And so I was quite happy that she actually did that, because I got to be honest, Chris, I think Mitch has just been a massive fucking tool.
Yeah, I think so. Dave. I think there's an arrogance in it. It's like a real weird barometer the way he approaches life and everything. But what it sounds bad. I'm not gonna stick up for him. Or maybe I'm slightly, Dave. But there's a but. When he was doing his speech, so Ella went all in, didn't she? And they did this real lovely setting in like a little forest and everything. And when they're chatting away, I don't think what he said was wrong. I think that because these shows, they expect you to go off, don't you? And you love each other and blah blah blah. And then a month later, you get the old we've decided to go our way. Like Love Island, the last week is absolute shit, and everyone just loves each other because they're trying to win the money. And there's no win at the end of this money wise or anything. But if he was going with the show and he was producer led, he'd have done a great speech. They'd have hugged each other and then give it a couple of weeks. Yeah, we're splitting up. I think he's just like, I don't give a fuck when I'm on TV. He's mentioned it a few times, like the cameras are everywhere, blah, blah. We've poked fun saying, hello, you're on this TV show. And I think he was being honest. He's like, I don't want to commit to something I'm not ready to do. I don't know how you saw that, Dave. I think he's been a complete knob with Ella loads of times. I'm not condoning that, but I just thought this was him being completely honest, not like most of the other contestants who are happy to bunk up with the others just to go for the okay deal at the end of it and stuff like that. I mean, that's how I saw it anyway.
I don't know. I think he has rebelled against the fact that he's on a reality TV show at the end of the
Yes.
day, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, God, I walked out the room and there was cameras there. You're on a reality TV show, you dick. That's just what you signed up for. What did you think you were signing up for a dating site and then you just walk off? I don't know. I could talk about some potential spoilers here, but
I know him as well, but let's not.
if you, yeah. So should we
Yeah.
say it now, or should we leave it to the end?
I suppose it depends if people listening have seen them,
I've
but
seen the spoilers because I
YouTube
don't
is
know.
a nightmare, basically.
Yeah. So it's I tell you what, because it might happen in the reunion next week. So let's avoid the spoilers. But I don't know. I didn't see it like that. The thing is, for the show, you've got to buy into this concept that the commitment ceremony is the forever thing. So they've been quote unquote married, but not married. And the commitment ceremony is, forever or break up. Well, life doesn't quite happen like that. They'll stay together maybe. If they do stay together, well, they've still got like every fucking day that for the rest of their lives to decide are they right for each other or not. It's not a forever thing. So I just think, I just think he was disrespecting Ella, quite honestly. He could have just played along for the commitment ceremony, said, let's give it another couple of weeks. Probably, it hadn't helped after this blowout. I mean, they don't resolve conflict at all, do they? That's the main problem. When he has his little tantrums, Ella just rolls over. That's what we'd seen up until that last dinner party. He won't even entertain the idea. Would I move to? Was it Melbourne? I think where she is, and he's like, yeah, I'm not moving there. Everything is kind of on his terms, and where I will say and I agree, I think he was right. Yeah, he's not right for her. Yeah. So I do think he got that bit right. But I think I was just disappointed, to be honest, because I wanted her to have that moment where she has that realization that, all of this is me making compromises, even when you're saying, oh, let's give it 48 hours, or I'm just going to walk out the experiment. Everything is on his terms. And I just wanted something to be on her terms, but it wasn't. She was saying, she's prepared to see how it goes for a little bit longer. So again, she wasn't buying into the, is it forever or is it nothing? Whereas he sort of snatched that away from her and just said, yeah, I'm not the right person for you. See you later.
That's fair enough, Dave. That's fair enough. I'd tell you who did piss me off, Dave, is Cody and Selena go to Selena's house, and I have a big fucking to do with her mum. Now, I'm not a fan of Cody. I think when he does that stupid grin and he's gaslighting her, and he like the joke thing he tried with the outfit, and he's been disrespectful. She just wants to be loved. She's told him on numerous occasions, I am all in. In the previous episode, he did say, you're my girlfriend. He didn't say he loved her, but he didn't sort of, you know what I mean? He just said, we're together, you're my girl, you're cute and all this. But they go to a house, and I'm not being funny, Dave. Obviously, her mum doesn't like Cody, and I'm not saying she's wrong because he's done some questionable things towards Selena. I think Selena's lovely, and he's been a knob with her, a complete knob. But he falls over, and it looks a bit of a setup. He drops a plate or a cup, whatever it is. Sorry, a china cup and everything. He drops it, smashes it. And from that one interaction, the mum is like Mystic fucking Meg. And she's like, well, I can clearly see that because you've dropped this mug, you're clumsy, which means that in life, you do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, How have you come to that? Because he might have been panicking and he just fell over. Like I said, I thought it was a bit of a setup, but I didn't find her reasoning to say, Cody, I don't like you. You're a bell end, which what she probably wanted to say. So we got this whole monologue, and I'm not a fan of Cody at all. I don't think he's right for Selena, but I was just like, he's never going to win. But what I did was, Dave, I felt sorry for Selena because it looked like a mum. And she said about the dad, well, like your dad goes to his shed out there, he doesn't know how to communicate or something. I'm thinking, by the looks of it, nobody's allowed to communicate in that house. And Selena's never been with anybody because I think whoever she's been with, this is my opinion, she has always said they're not good enough for her. So whether it's she's trying to keep her within the family circle, she's worried about her branching out. But it seemed to me like the mum was stifling her a little bit.
I'm not going to come down on the mum quite as hard as you, but probably because I dislike Cody a bit more than
I don't
you,
like
maybe.
him, yeah. I don't like him, but yeah.
I do think her mum comes across as someone who is not slow about coming forward with her opinions. Yes. And I think the dad going out to the shed, that shed is probably his solace. It's probably his. Like, who knows what he does in there, but he's just, I'm going to get out of here, right? Because I can't stand it anymore. So she does seem a little bit overbearing. And I don't know, was it just from that single interaction? Who knows how long they'd, been at the house all day and whatever. And so maybe it's not just from that single thing of breaking the cup. It's just from spending time with him. Because, the vibe he gives off for me is someone who thinks he's 21.
Yes.
And it's like, look, you're a 31-year-old bloke, mate. Are you actually going to fucking grow up? I'm sure it was this episode 34 where he describes himself as a kid, or that him and Selena as the kids or something like that. And it's like, but you're not, mate. You're 31.
Yeah.
And so that fucking shit-eating grin that he walks around constantly with, it just makes me think that we know that he's emotionally stunted. We see that, but I just think he's failed to actually grow up. I think from his interactions with his family, you saw that, basically it looked like something out of Victorian times, like where no one, men aren't supposed to show emotion or anything like that. But then I think when he's away from the family, he's just this massive kid. And I don't know. I was siding with the mum on this one.
Well, get out, Dave. I'm sorry, I'm not accepting that. But no, I get it. I understand that. I can see it from both sides. But I mean, I won't mind. I've got a great relationship with my mother-in-law, Dave. So it's not like she give me a grilling and I'm bearing scars from that. She'd probably stick up for me over Sam. But there you go. But anyway, I tell you what, though, Dave. There was a couple of telling things. Was Olivia and Jackson had their sort of final ceremony, didn't they? And they did the old, we want to be together. But I was fucking cringing, thinking, oh dear, was when Olivia said she loved him and he said he wasn't there yet. And I'm like,
yeah. Didn't
me.
like that, did she?
No, and I was like, oh, and I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, I was not expecting that. I mean, she seemed to accept it, Dave, but I was like, oh dear. So I don't know. They might still be together, and it's all thinking. But I did say to Sam, I would have thought he would have said he loved her by now. The amount of time they spent together, the dialogue that they've said, and then I'm thinking, is he playing Olivia? Is this all a big ruse till after the show and he's going to get rid of her? Because I don't understand. They have had and it's up to you. It's personal choice. Some people find it hard to say they love you, I love you, or whatever. I totally understand that. Everyone's different. An older generation, it was so difficult for people to tell their kids, wives, husbands, or whoever. That I get that. But it just didn't play true to what we'd seen on the show. And it sort of knocked me back. I was like, oh, here we go. But they did say they were committed together, didn't they? And sort of rode off into the sunset.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. I agree, because you sort of think to put up with all that shit of Olivia, basically, well, throughout the experiment, he's got to love her, surely, to put up with that shit. Because if he didn't, what are you putting up with it for?
Yeah.
So I thought there was a slim chance that he might actually wake up and see, this does not have a happy ending. You know what? These two might actually stay together for a few years. And what Jackson's worried about is, if she has a grudge against his friends or something like that. But what about if she takes a dislike to his mum,
Yeah.
or just him at some point? I mean, I think she's so emotionally dependent on him. I thought it was chilling a few times when she was talking about how there'd be massive heartbreak if he decided not to stay with her. I thought the words that were coming out of her mouth, if they were from a different person, you'd be thinking, oh, that's sweet, they're so invested in this. But I found it proper Glenn Close style chilling. Just needed some horror music to accompany Olivia's words. But yeah, I do think it's weird that he says he doesn't love her. I don't know what's going on there, but the way he's kind of just passively brushed off these things, and maybe deep down, maybe he doesn't really like Dom, so he's kind of almost excusing that behavior because he thinks, yeah, she's a bit of an arsehole. I wouldn't behave that way, but I can kind of see where Olivia's just been pushed to this brink. And even in Olivia's apology, she wasn't really taking accountability. She was almost saying, you've seen the worst of me, when I've been pushed to the brink, kind of thing. So she wasn't really taking accountability for her part in it all. She was making excuses for it. So I just think these two might stay together, but it's not going to end well.
No, I don't think it's going to end well at all, Dave. And before we get on to it didn't end well, let's just do the lovey-dovey bit out the way, because there's one, Dom and Jack, there was the will they, won't they? Are they going to commit? I don't know whether it was a bit of like foreshadowing to the TV, because we're like, oh, like we said with Tamara, she's going to, anyway, they then decide that they're going to be together, Dave. She wrecks the dress, she wrecks everything. And they all go off happy, and I was happy with him. I was really happy for him, to be fair. I don't know whether it'll
Yeah.
last, but he deserved that. Jack deserved it. Dom deserved it. It was nice. I think it ended at the end of the week well.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'd really want these two to work. Not I would. I do. Again, I don't really hold out that much hope. Some of the things she was saying about being in a relationship, and it sounded like she'd gone into a marriage knowing that it wasn't quite right. A first marriage, I mean.
Yeah.
And then she's having similar kind of doubts about Jack, but she's gone ahead with it, which I was happy for. But I don't know. I think the physical intimacy might prove to be a bit of a problem for them. I think she clearly really values that highly, and I think Jack's a bit more laid back about it. So I don't know. I hope these two stay together, but I've got doubts.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I think it was a big story for them until the Olivia situation, and that's when they pulled rank, didn't they? And he really stood in, especially when they did the retreat thing. That's when he really stepped up with her, because he had been a bit vague, and
Yeah.
she obviously wants that physical relationship, and he, like you say, he's sort of like, yeah, so it's
If you
usually the
think
other way
about it,
around, isn't it?
yeah, if you think about it, it's more Jack and Dom got stronger because of the conflict, and the fact that Jack was really a rock for Olivia for Dom, because that day when she smashed the glass in the evening, wasn't that the same day in the couples retreat where she was going on about Jack basically being a bit shit and not doing his job in the bedroom to the girls, and Jack heard everything. And so they'd had a bit of a set to earlier in the day, and then at the dinner party, that's when it all Olivia was going on about your voices, this and that, and Dom ends up smashing the glass. So I do think all those events kind of played into what happened in the evening. But before it all started off with, Dom versus the group, I thought Jack and Dom were not going that well.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Completely with you, Dave. I think you're right. I think it wasn't, and that's what I mean. Like you say, that retreat thing. She don't, like you said about you know, she'd already, you overheard her saying, didn't you? You know what she said. So anyway, but no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. But Dave, I've got to talk to you about what I thought was probably. I love when you see the memes and that of the mic drops. You know, when you get these like Barack Obama did it, who I think as a person's a great person, but the Barack Obama did it with the mic. You've seen it on various shows. Mic drop. It's a meme. I'm doing it now, like I've done it on People Day. But you've seen it in like award ceremonies, concerts. But I wasn't expecting the mic drop that we got between Tamara and Brent. So obviously Tamara does the
Yeah.
speech. She thanked Brent initially, and then it went south. She just started sort of laying into him. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, she can't help it, can she? She can't help but just belittle him one last time. You know, we need to go on our separate ways, and which I can agree with. They do to go separate ways. She was just being snipey again. And then Brent pulled out Dave like a Tom and Jerry level of about fucking. It was like fucking Bob Dylan, that song, and he just pulled out these cards, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. It wasn't like one card; it was a fucking best man speech levels of cards, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And I've got to say, articulated himself in the best way I've ever seen on this show. I thought it was amazing. But when he fucking threw it and went, see ya, me and Sam were going, yes, we were like fucking like it was United had scored a goal or something. That's very rare, Dave. But it was like, was it football? Sam don't watch football. I was at football. I was like, get in. I was like, fucking right. I thought that was the perfect way to shut Tamara up, to be honest.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And have you seen the someone's put up on our Facebook group that you know, when it's that old footage, isn't it? So there's obviously football playing in a bar, and someone scores a goal and everyone goes nuts. And it's just this moment with Tamara and Brent, and it does that. And it's so perfect. I agree. What an absolutely brilliant put down. I mean, coming to Tamara's speech, I'm convinced she's gone in here with an absolute game plan. She's come in here with her pre-planned excuses of what her husband is, where he's going to fall short. Because even if you go back to like week 2, and she was going on about, I think you just want someone to look after. And Brent's going nuts. He's like, do I look like a fucking father figure to you? Do you look like, I'm trying to look after someone. If she'd have said that to someone like, I don't know, maybe a Dion or an Anthony or someone like that, you might have thought, oh, maybe she's got a point there. But Brent doesn't come across that way at all. And when she's saying, like, just know that you are enough, it's like he's got this fragile confidence, and he's like, he's been trying to wrestle with his insecurities and stuff. And it's like, look at the guy. As soon as he comes out of this series, he's going to have no problems at all. His DMs are going to be fucking jam-packed full, I imagine. And he doesn't come across like someone who struggles with confidence. Obviously, he had his whole business in Dubai, fucking, obviously with the pandemic and everything, he's had to give all that up and, come back to Australia. But that's just circumstance. And for me, the whole thing was fake as fuck, Tamara, and didn't buy any of it at all. And it could have been anyone who was stood at the other side of those cards giving that speech. Brent was the only one who's actually trying in that relationship. And just brilliant speech, and loved it. The fact that he walked off, didn't stick around to see what she had to say. It's like, fuck you, we're done. Don't ever need to see you again. Brilliant.
Amazing.
You're not, what was it? It was like, you're not God's gift to humanity, so stop acting like it. Fucking brilliant.
It was fucking the best part of this whole series for me. I was like, getting, and I cannot wait for the reunion, because then when the interview Tamara, she went, well, I've had other people say that to me and I don't value their opinion either. And I'm like, and that's because they told you the truth.
McFly.
Yeah, exactly.
McFly.
They've told you the truth. So you need people with you who are enablers who just accept your behavior. And that's exactly what she's obviously got. She's got friends who just do not want to speak up. I will give Olivia's friend a bit of props, or a cousin. She wasn't having any messing about.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, you're right.
She was not enabling her. She was saying like, and she said, "Oh, you know what I get like," but like Olivia's playing it down because she knew full well her cousin's going to say to her, "Yeah, because you're being fucking stupid." So she was playing that down slightly. But yeah,
what was it? She said something like, something apparently might have slipped out of my mouth or something like that. All the language was softening what actually happened, and her mate was having none of it. She was like, no, you did or you didn't say it, you know. So she knows exactly what she's like, and I again, it just, to me, it solidifies what we've seen is the real Olivia. You know, because if this is just, they've taken all of the worst bits and put them on the screen just to put everything out of context to create this villain. But no, her mate, who's known her for years, or was it a mate, a cousin, whoever it was, knew exactly what had happened, and she wasn't having anything. I agree.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's been at the wrong end of that, Dave, and fell out with her on numerous occasions. You usually do with family more than anything, don't you? So, but no, what an amazing week, mate. And we've got the reunion to go. I cannot wait for this weekend. It's been so good, this show. I honestly, this has been top level TV yet again for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, we saw the little preview for next week. Well, it's going to be Sunday, isn't it? And it's like, oh, it's not done yet. And it does look like no one has chilled out in their time out of the experiment. Everyone's come back in and guns are going to be blazing again. So absolutely can't wait. Top class.
Is it just one episode, by the way, Dave? Because I've not looked at it. Is it just one and done?
Oh, well, I'm sure for last season, there were 2 reunion episodes.
Right, I'll investigate. Because what I'm thinking of doing is doing the old Chris Phelps, Where Are They Now? Because I know what you're talking about. I've seen stuff on YouTube by mistake. And also, Dave, just out of interest, I know we've got Love Is Blind to cover, but I've actually watched it in sequence with how we're recording it. So I've not watched episode 5, but my dear wife last night sat next to me, went, "Look at these, they're still together," and ruins fucking one of the couples in Love Is Blind. And I'm like, and she went, "Oh, you've not watched it, have you?" I went, "No." She went, "Oh, I'm getting confused with maths." I went, "Oh, well, thanks fucking very much for that, Sam. Really."
Well, the remedy for that is you need to pull your finger out and watch that next episode. I think, is it even 5 or is it 4 we're at?
5 next episode. So, yeah, I'll be on it now. Once we've done this, we're on it, aren't we? So let's do it. But anyway,
awesome.
If you do want to support us, guys, get over to Patreon, patreon.com/CD Realitycast. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And if you do get a chance, get over to your podcast catching app and drop us a review on the show, please. And me and Dave will read it out, good, bad, and the ugly, without a doubt. And if you don't follow us on social media, @CD Realitycast. So today's roll call of honor, Dave, is Kent Gustafson, Lucky Lulu Green, Lauren, Hennessy, Susan, Priscilla, Dee Dee, Katie, Helen, Joanna, Zoe, Noreen, Brianna, Helen, Keith, and Michelle. So thank you so much, guys, and everybody have a great weekend, because I cannot wait for Sunday evening now, Dave. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, can't wait. And let's hope that there are 2 reunion episodes. But if not, it's going to be explosive, and I just can't wait. I'm just gutted that, we're going to have to avoid it now. But like I say, we've got Love Is Blind to pick up. We've talked about doing Temptation Island as a Patreon special. So plenty more to come from us.
Without a doubt, guys. So enjoy your weekend, Mr. Horrocks, and I will see you next week for some more maths.
Thank you, sir. And thanks to everyone out there for listening. I will speak to you next time.
Bye.